What's going on, guys? Shane here. I'm here with Anthony Mayo back in Philadelphia, and today we're talking about why do fighters fight with their hands down at a professional level, right? Someone said, Shane, why does Conor McGregor fight with his hands down? And we're going to talk about that. So one of the reasons that you probably haven't considered is for balance, right? Think about a ballerina or a figure skater or even trickers who are going for a spin kick, let's say a cheat 900. Their hands are out, and then as they spin, they pull their hands in. They use the expression punch the armpit, right? And it's the same idea for when Conor McGregor's out here. Sometimes he will, and let's see in a fight stance. So sometimes he'll grab his opponent's hands, or use this to confuse his opponent a little bit. But also what he'll do is use this to go into his spin. So he'll pull back this way, tucking his arms, and that's going to help for the spin and the rotation. But also balance is very important too. Talking about that, keeping your hands down, Floyd Mayweather does the same thing, right? So if Ant were to throw a punch, you'll see that Floyd uses the pull counter and he keeps his arm back, which helps him bring his weight, bring his balance back, as opposed to if I'm here and I keep my hand up, right? Because my arm weighs, a couple pounds, and that's more weight that I have to fight against. Whereas if I come here and I get the target out of the way, being my head, and I keep my shoulder high, it's going to help me pull back into the counter, the right hand, okay? So talking about that, the other thing is bait, and this is what Floyd does a lot. This is what Anderson Silva does a lot, right? He keeps his hands down and he makes his opponent fall for the bait, which is an open target, right? My head is here and Ant throws a punch, and I can come here with the pull counter, or if Ant throws that right hand, I can come to the outside and go with a hook to the body or a hook to the head, something like that. Okay, so there's the two reasons right there. So balance, counterweight, counterbalance, helping with the spin, right? Also Taekwondo guys are here, right? Because they don't have to worry so much about punches to the head, and they're throwing a lot of spin kicks. Then you got the bait, make them fall for the bait so they can slip to the outside. But one thing you want to be careful of with that especially is in a street fight or even in mixed martial arts, if you're utilizing a lot of head movement, if your opponent sees that pattern, let's say I keep throwing a jab and Ant keeps slipping to the outside and I see that, then I'm going to go boom and I'm going to catch him with a kick or a knee to the head because he's getting his head closer. So people will ask, Shane, does head movement work in a street fight? And yes and no, and that's going to be your answer to any question that starts with that. Does this work in a street fight? Okay. And then the last one you probably haven't considered too is conserves energy, right? Floyd Mayweather never looks tired from rounds 1 through 12, and it's because his hands are here. He keeps one hand up to block this side of his face and to parry, and this one to keep his shoulder high to block, unless he's utilizing the head movement. But his hands are never up here, and this is shoulder endurance, and that's energy, right? To keep your hands up right here and your elbows in, that's a lot of energy being used. Whereas if you keep your hands down here and then you only lift them up when you need to, right? So if I'm this far away from Ant, why do I keep my hands up? There's no point. And you'll see this, right? When they get a little bit closer, that's when the hands come up, because that's when I have to block the punches of Ant. He would just throw any sort of combo. Boom, then I keep it up. But once I'm down here, I can do that. Now be careful, of course. We're all talking about at a professional level when you have the expertise and you've been there before. So when we talk about these Worldstar Hip Hop guys and they're in a street fight and they got their hands down low, you probably, they don't have as much success with it like Conor McGregor, Anderson Silva, or Floyd Mayweather does. All right, guys, so make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already to get the fight tips before your opponent does. And follow us on Twitter. Mine's Shane Faison, Fight Tips, Shane Faison, and Anthony Mayo.
That's right.
Check him out on there. All right, guys, until next time, I'm Shane with Fight Tips.
Self-defense for the underdog.
That's right.
Woo!